top stories. St. Kitts Nevis closer to accessing $40 million US dollar grant for water sector. Trinidad and Tobago legislation coming to address sexual harassment in the workplace. And U.S. President tightens background checks on firearms. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Today is Wednesday, the 15th of March 2023. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the Federation is one step closer to accessing a $40 million US Green Climate Fund grant for transitioning the water supply in St. Kitts and Nevis to a low-carbon, climate-resilient sector, also known as the St. Kitts and Nevis Transwater Project. This was recently announced by the Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, Minister of Environment and Climate Action. Dr. Clark stated, quote, St. Kitts and Nevis received its 5th Green Climate Fund readiness support, and this is to support our nationally determined contributions. We have reached the furthest we have ever reached in terms of GCF grants, and now we're much closer to accessing our $40 million US grant for our Transwater project, end quote. The St. Kitts and Nevis Transwater Project seeks to reduce the Federation's carbon footprint and increase climate resilience and sustainability for the water supply sector. It prioritizes and supports the implementation of outputs and activities from 5 of 6 investment programs identified in the Federation's Water Adaptation Plan. The GCF grant financing will facilitate the mainstreaming of low-carbon, climate-resilient water supply systems and will strengthen capacity for their management by the Water Services Department, the Nevis Water Department, Skellig and Nevlec, as well as improve population knowledge on the capacity for climate-resilient water, sanitation and hygiene. Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, has been selected as the featured alumnus for the Norman Manley Law School class of 1994 for the video series launched as a lead-up to the institution's 50th anniversary. Premier Brantley graduated from the Norman Manley Law School with a Legal Education Certificate of Merit, then the 4th such award in the institution's history. He was featured on the March 3 edition of the NMLS program 50 Weeks to 50 series on YouTube, saying it was a privilege to have attended and graduated from such a distinguished institution.
I had the opportunity to attend the University of the West Indies at Cave Hill, and then of course to come to the Norman Manley Law School. I think the opportunity at Norman Manley was life-changing for me. I met there some of the brightest minds in the region. I met some of the best professors and best tutors in the region, and we were exposed at a very high level to the work of the courts, both of the High Court and the Court of Appeal, and to judges who took an active interest in us.
The Premier, who began his 2nd consecutive term as leader of the Nevis Island administration in December of 2022, used the video to encourage his fellow alumni to give back to the law school, to the students, to the development of the legal profession and the legal training in the region.
Whether through bursaries or scholarships or mentorships or whatever we can do, let us collectively decide that we will contribute as much as we can to ensure that the Norman Manley Law School and legal education in our region goes from strength to strength.
The Norman Manley Law School, named after the late Honorable Norman Washington Manley, KC, first opened its doors in Jamaica at the University of the West Indies Mona campus to students in September 1973 with a mission to provide relevant, current and practical legal training and education to students, attorneys at law and the general public. His Excellency Dr. Norjan Wilson has been officially received by the President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, as the new non-resident ambassador of St. Kitts and Nevis to Venezuela. Dr. Wilson presented his letter of credentials on Tuesday in an official ceremony with the President and other government dignitaries. Venezuela has repeated its commitment to strengthen its friendly relations with the people of the Caribbean. In a social media post, President Maduro said, quote, "Always pleased to receive a brotherly people, today represented by Norjan Maxwell Wilson, who handed me his credentials as ambassador of San Cristobal and Nieves in Venezuela. Welcome to the homeland of Bolivar and Chavez, following the union of our countries," end quote. Ambassador Wilson will be tasked to represent and protect the interests of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, coordinate the implementation of the foreign policy priorities of the Federation, promote and maintain diplomatic and friendly relations, undertake the coordination of consular matters and services, and explore avenues for trade promotion as well as educational opportunities for the people of the Federation with Venezuela, among other duties. Moving now to news on the regional scene. Preparing for the implementation of the national policy on sexual harassment in